Hello everybody, hi! Welcome to today's video. Today I have for you the ultimate guide to Lolita fashion, starting from beginning to end, to help you where to shop and to help you how to coordinate and how to even begin and get started in this fashion style. I get this question all the time on my TikTok and Instagram because Lolita fashion does seem to be a little bit more intimidating than other J fashion spaces, simply because we have a reputation of being a little bit extreme when it comes to rules and guidelines, and it appears to be just really hard for beginners to get a foot into the fashion style. Know some general history about Lolita fashion, such as that it's inspired by the Rococo era and the Victorian era, and also maybe when it started gaining popularity. For example, here in the Western world, it was more so the early 2000s and 2010s, but in Japan, it actually started already in like 1970, although it started as something called otomeki. So now that you're caught up to some general history, I think we can move on to the next part. Obviously the main three that you probably heard of before. They're sweet, gothic, and classic. However, you might have heard the term OTT sweet as well, which is something that I personally am a big fan of, which is just over the top sweet. So that is another category from sweet, maybe a subcategory. There's Era Lolita, there's Nurse Lolita, Punk Lolita, there's OG Lolita, which is a more masculine style. A lot of people tend to think that it is for men only, but that's not true. Lolita fashion has no gender. One is just more feminine and the other one is more masculine. So don't feel limited by those labels and those generic terms. Lolita fashion has no gender. So if you want to wear poofy dresses and you're a guy, you're welcome to do so. Or if you want to wear the more masculine style and you're a girl, you can do the same thing. If you're feeling like anything in between, do not feel limited, is all I'm saying. A wardrobe is not built in a day. We know this about Lolita fashion. Honestly, any fashion style, it takes time and effort and money to get started. So focusing on one specific subcategory, such as sweet, classic, gothic, take one and focus on building a wardrobe surrounding that specific style. You can always switch it up. Don't worry, you're not fixed on it forever, but it's just a general rule of thumb to know what items to focus on first before you start overwhelming yourself and your cords and your wallet. So many different types of Lolita fashion. So pick one that you really like and feel like you can build an entire wardrobe around, at least for the first few pieces, and then we can move on to the next step. Let's talk about Lolita fashion and terminology that you should know for beginners. So I'm gonna basically be your translation guide to know your way around some basic simple words that are being used in the Lolita community quite regularly. What does brand stand for? Maybe you already have an idea. It's basically just things like Angelic Pretty, Baby the Star Shine Bright, Alice and the Pirates. Those are kind of the main brands. Then there's something called colorway. Colorway is basically a dress that was released in different colors. Pretty self-explanatory. And oftentimes a colorway is also a good indicator whether or not a piece is fake from brands. But we'll get into that when it's time to get into that. It's called a com with a double M, and that just stands for community. So I guess they just didn't want to spell out community and just decided to do com, which is a Lolita community that might be local or maybe on the internet. Pretty simple. Then there's something called cord, and you might have heard this pretty often. Maybe I even said it in the video, can't even remember. But what is a cord? A cord is a fancy term for outfit, an entire outfit to toe. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy. So what is a JSK and what is an OP? There's a distinct difference between these two. A JSK is a dress that does not have any sleeves. So usually it is cut right here. That is what often people refer to as you should be wearing a blouse underneath. Do not expose those slutty little shoulders. However, I believe this is a little bit of an outdated rule. I personally don't like showing my shoulders, just a little insecure about them. But if it's summertime, you are free to be without a blouse, even in wintertime. If you just don't like a blouse, you're not gonna get murdered anymore, don't worry. OP is basically the opposite of a JSK, and OP has sleeves. So they're already built in, pretty easy, nothing more to say about it, I think. Then we have something for the head, which is often referred to as a KC. Those are usually giant bows or something along the lines. C is a short word from the Japanese abbreviation Karyusha, which is referred to as, or which means head bow. Yay. Lolitas also like to not use the word socks. They actually refer to socks as OTKs, just meaning over-the-knee socks. So OTKs are over-the-knee socks. That you probably need to know is petty or petticoat, which is the fluff in your dress. Right here. This is what makes it fluffy.
Scandalous.
I think these are the most important terms to know as a beginner. At least get around the internet without being entirely confused about what do these words even mean. Where to buy your pieces. You want to get your first dress, you want to get that first cord. How do you do it? Well, there's actually multiple options, and depending on which one you want to go to, it might be more or less easy. So there's kind of three main ways you can get dresses. One is Taobao. You probably heard this many times by now. Taobao is the GOAT in the Lolita Fashion community, and you usually buy there with a shopping service. You can do it directly, it's just gonna be a little bit more tough because it's a Chinese website. So shopping services are usually the way to go. There's also Taobao resellers. Resellers are something like Devilinspired or 42 Lolita that basically have already done all the work for you and are reselling the dresses from Taobao. This is not a scam. This is something legit. They do price up. That's the only. And the next one is second hand. Second hand is probably the biggest thing in the Lolita community. If there's one thing you need to know is that the secondhand economy in the Lolita fashion community is huge. I'm talking you can get great pieces for great prices super easily. Last thing is you buy brand on the official websites. That means buying on Angelique Pretty Paris, Angelique Pretty Japan, all these sites directly. Or Baby the Starshine Bride or Alice and the Pirates. All of that, which is also an option, but honestly not that many people are doing that, so whichever you're gonna do that. Called AC Buy, which I have used before, and also another one called Biner Lolita, both of which I've used before and both of which I love very much. However, Biner Lolita seems to have some server issues. They sometimes are just down for no reason, so maybe I'm not recommending that one as much anymore. However, AC Buy is pretty great, and I do have a code if you want to use it. It really does save you some money, but you don't have to. Shopping services are basically doing a lot of the work for you. Going to order from these sellers that you have told them to order from, and then they're going to deliver that their warehouse. And at their warehouse, they will send you pictures of those items to make sure that the quality is good, to make sure that it's the right item, and then you can approve it or disapprove it and ship it back. I can already hear the people from Europe screaming at me, but what about the shipping costs? What about the custom fees? And I know the nightmare of shipping costs and custom fees as I am from Germany, so I feel the pain. Unfortunately, custom fees are not in their hands. AC Buy has a really nice shipping cost. So they are really not overcharging you as much as you might think, and it is easy on your wallet. Devilinspired is probably the most infamous in pricing up, which is unfortunate, but it is true. However, you can save in shipping cost if you buy over $99, which is relatively easy to do. I also never had to pay custom fees, which I like. I have personally ordered from there a couple of times, and it was always easy, it was super fast, and very, very lovely. I only have ever had an issue with them once, but keep in mind that this is my own personal experience, and there are people who have had issues with them. 42 Lolita is very infamously nice on the wallet. However, when it comes to shipping, it was a little painful, but unfortunately, that is something that you have to deal with. You can always go the route of secondhand shopping and participating in the secondhand economy. Personally, I love it a lot. I think it's wonderful. Most of my things are secondhand. This bonnet, secondhand. This Milky Chan bracelet, secondhand. These rings, secondhand. There's multiple, I guess, ways to get secondhand Lolita. Online, let's begin there because it's the easiest and most accessible. There is a site called Lace Market. Lace Market is like the eBay of Lolita fashion. It is awesome. I'm telling you, I bought many pieces there. Does the site look like it's still in 2010? Yes, but it works well and it's really nice, and it is basically a place for all the Lolitas to buy and sell their stuff. You do have to get verified. That might take a couple of days, but that's how you know that the items are legit, at least 99% of the time. Another really, really great store is a store in Japan called Wunderwelt, and another one that is called Closet Child. Both of these are very infamous, and they have really good prices, and also check their items of quality amazingly. The only thing that I've noticed, because I ordered off of Wunderwelt before, is again, the shipping and also the custom fees can be a little bit a pain in the ass. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna glamorize it. Custom fees really do suck if you live in Germany or Europe. any kind of area like that, it might suck a little bit. Now, people ask me all the time about Vinted and eBay. And Vinted is actually not the worst source for Lolita fashion anymore. However, if you are a beginner, I beg of you to check those pieces. Make sure they're real. And now here's the guide on how to know that a dress is real and legit and you're not getting a replica. Replica is basically a fake of a piece. It is a ripoff and usually worse quality, and you might even pay more than the original piece because you're getting scammed, which is not very fun. And it is art theft, literally, so we do not like replicas. If you get one on an accident, not your fault, happened to me. Happened to many people, don't worry, but also don't let it happen again. So what do you want to do to avoid getting a replica? Maybe I scared you, I'm sorry. It's not that hard. You want to go to a website called Law Library. This is the easiest way to detect whether or not something is real, because there you can find any release, or at least most releases from decades of Lolita releases, like the JSK or the OP, the name of your dress, put it in, and then check the colorways that were released. Always check the color. Is it the right color? Is it the right print? Is there a label, like a tag of Angelic Pretty, Baby the Star Shine Bright, all of these tags? Is there one? Does the quality look identical? Does the picture look identical? Etc, etc, etc. Just make sure you compare and contrast to make sure that you are not getting scammed. Because some people like to take advantage of vulnerable individuals who don't know much about the Lolita fashion economy yet. I have seen people sell their dresses for double the price than it's actually worth because they knew that people would buy it because they don't know any better. So don't get scammed unless the dress is actually rare, and in that case you can find that out again super quickly by Googling the dress. Now the last thing in the secondhand category is in-person bring and buys. I love bring and buys from the bottom of my heart. I got this at a bring and buy, this at a bring and buy. So many of my dresses and pieces are from a bring and buy because they are just so nice to actually be able to touch it in person. And how do you find these? Well, this is a little hard to answer because I'm very lucky. I found my German community very early on in my journey. That was one of the reasons I even started with the fashion. I found them when I was 11 years old, and I attended my first meetup at 11 years old, and ever since then I've been in the community. I know my way around. Found it at an old website, actually, like an old blog post, and then I found their Facebook. So Facebook might be the way to go. And at conventions, ask Lolitas, ask them if they know anything about a local com. They're usually very, very nice and polite about the whole thing. I can't promise you that every country has this, unfortunately, but as far as I know, most countries have at least a community. Most cities do. So yeah. Now with the actually buying from brands method, it's pretty straightforward. You Google the brand, you order from the brand. Pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. Another piece of advice that I would like to give you, it is very easy to get wrapped up in the whole Lolita fashion world and only buy main pieces. I mean, I can't blame you. Main pieces are beautiful. You see all these stunning dresses and you're like, I want this one, I want that one, I want this one. But I'm telling you right now, future you is gonna be so grateful when you start investing in OTKs. We just learned what that means. What does it mean? Socks, exactly. And also blouses. And maybe, you know, cute little accessories, things like that will make your courts shine. You want to be able to court well from head to toe. That is really what Lolita fashion is about. You want to create a piece of art on your body. And personally, I think this is very beautiful. But again, courts are not built in a day. I'm just saying, don't focus only on main pieces. Get in touch with your community, whether that is online or in person. It is always nice to have Lolita or J fashion friends to normalize wearing the fashion. Because at the beginning, you might be very hesitant to wear it out, or you might be very hesitant to even tell people about it because you're feeling a little insecure. But I'm gonna be so for real with you right now. Lolita fashion has given so many people confidence. You will feel so beautiful and so nice and so stunning, and the feeling of getting your very first piece is gonna be one that you will never forget. Is if you are tall or you're plus sized, there's also options for you. I see many people saying, I don't have the body type to wear Lolita fashion. To you, I want to say there's options for you. You do not have to be limited because of your body size. And unfortunately, I know it's not as accessible as I would like it to be, but there's still options for you. Taobao specifically has many plus sized options, and you specifically want to focus on things that have sharing in the back like I do. Let me show you. If you have sharing in the back, this really helps, especially if you have a larger bust size, or if you have more out-poking ribs, or if you just have a little bit more on your body. This will make the whole wearing experience much more comfortable. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful and kind of gave you a vague idea and understanding of the fashion in a, I don't know, somewhat good way. If you want more videos like this, definitely let me know. I will hopefully record more in the future. And yeah, I love you guys so much and see you in the next one. Bye bye!